GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Good morning, Montreal. I'm Lauren Dupuis. A storm system ripped through southern Quebec yesterday, knocking out power and toppling trees, while the city rolls out a cleanup plan for post-July 1 trash. The heat's climbing with a humidex of 44, and traffic on St. Denis remains clear. Over to you, Ryan.
19-year-old Gabriel Genest set a new pole vault record at the Montreal Classic yesterday, clearing 6 meters.
The previous record stood at 5.9 meters, held by another athlete since last year.
The Montreal Classic attracted athletes from across Quebec, featuring 12 pole vault attempts in total this year.
All right, let's get into it, starting with today's top headlines and the stories shaping Montreal. Good morning, Montreal. Yesterday, the Sir Wilfrid Laurier School Board sent an email to families at Rossmere High School that included an attachment exposing parents' personal information. The document listed names, telephone numbers, and home addresses, prompting immediate concern among the school community. Board officials confirmed the error, saying the attachment was intended for internal use and was mistakenly attached to the mass message. They have launched an internal review and promised to inform affected families of steps being taken to protect the data. The board, which administers English language schools across the Greater Montreal region, apologized for the breach and pledged tighter safeguards on future communications. Parents were advised to monitor for any suspicious activity and to contact the board with questions. The incident adds to growing scrutiny of data handling practices in local education institutions.
Violent thunderstorms ripped through the Laurentides, Montreal, Morrissey, and Lanaudière on Thursday, unleashing winds strong enough to tear roofs from homes, snap utility poles, and bring down dozens of trees. The squall left many neighborhoods without electricity as crews scrambled to clear debris and restore service. Several commercial buildings suffered broken windows and roof damage, while a handful of residential structures reported partial collapse after trees fell on them. Power outages spread across the southern part of the province, affecting thousands of customers and prompting utility companies to issue warnings about lingering hazards. The storm followed a day of intense weather, marking 2 straight days of severe conditions in Quebec. Emergency responders continued to assess damage into the evening, urging residents to stay clear of downed lines and report any injuries.
Yesterday, the Canadiens confirmed that goaltender Jacob Dobies has signed a 3-year extension, keeping the 25-year-old netminder in the fold through the 2028 season. Dobies took over as the team's starter last season, posting solid numbers that helped steady a young roster. The club announced the deal at its downtown office, noting the extension rewards his rapid rise and provides continuity between the blue line and the crease. Management highlighted his poise under pressure and the confidence he earned from both coaches and teammates. The 3-year contract, worth an undisclosed amount, signals Montreal's commitment to building around a reliable last-line presence as it looks to return to the playoffs. Fans responded with cheers as the news broke, hopeful the stability will translate into more wins on the ice. The team hopes the added security will let the coaching staff focus on sharpening the offense.
City officials say the post-July 1 trash surge is now being tackled with a coordinated cleanup operation. Waste management teams have deployed additional collection trucks to neighborhoods where moving day debris has piled up, and they are opening extra drop-off points for unwanted furniture and appliances. The city is also stepping up street sweeps and issuing reminders that residents must place bags in designated containers rather than leaving them on sidewalks. Officials note that the influx of household waste follows the National Moving Day celebration, when many families discard items they no longer need. This year's effort aims to prevent the recurring litter problem that has plagued the island in previous years. The program is underway and will continue through the coming days as crews work to restore clear streets. Mayor Soria Martinez Ferrada has urged residents to cooperate, emphasizing that timely disposal helps keep the island safe and pleasant.
Yesterday, Mayor Soria Martinez Ferrada confirmed that 71 households remain without permanent housing and are being accommodated in a city-run hotel. The temporary shelter follows a wave of recent relocations that left families on the streets. Officials say the hotel program now houses twice as many households as the same effort did last year. City social services are coordinating with the hotel to provide basic necessities while they search for longer-term solutions. The families include several with young children, and the city has been using hotel rooms as an interim measure since early 2025. The mayor emphasized that the city will continue to assess available resources and work with community partners to address the growing need. No further details on the duration of the stays were released, but the situation underscores the urgency of finding permanent housing for those affected. Later, we'll hear Quebec's affordable prefab housing plans and a quick look at the heat wave pushing Humidex to 44. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
If you run a venue, a comedy night, a concert, a fundraiser, you already know the hardest part isn't the show. It's selling the seats. Theaterfiller changes that. In minutes, you're set up with your own ticketing page, QR code delivery, and a door scanner. No technical headaches. No middleman taking a cut of your night. Your event, your tickets, your revenue. Go to theaterfiller.com and fill every seat.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the break. Let's dive into today's headlines, and now Ryan Mercer will bring you the latest local stories.
Yesterday, the Quebec government unveiled a plan to spur affordable neighborhoods built from prefabricated homes, with the province covering the bulk of water system expenses. Officials say the move aims to ease a growing home ownership squeeze that's tightening budgets across the region. By shouldering the majority of water infrastructure outlays, municipalities could roll out new developments faster and at lower cost, offering first-time buyers a clearer path to owning a home. The strategy targets areas where traditional construction costs have surged, and it aligns with broader efforts to expand the supply of reasonably priced housing. Critics note that long-term maintenance and quality controls will need close monitoring, while supporters argue the approach could unlock thousands of new dwellings within the next few years. The province plans to work with local councils to identify sites and launch the first projects by next spring.
Yesterday, the Quebec government granted an emergency permit, allowing the province's largest landfill in Terrebonne to temporarily raise the height of its waste piles. The temporary expansion is intended to keep the site operating as it approaches full capacity within the next year. Officials said the measure is a stopgap to avoid service disruptions, while longer-term waste management solutions are explored. The decision follows projections that the landfill will reach its limit by next year, prompting concerns about where garbage will be taken if the site closes. The emergency approval applies only to higher stacking of waste and is not a permanent change to the facility's design. The permit lasts 1 year, after which the height limits will be reviewed to ensure compliance. Residents near the landfill will see the altered landscape, but officials assure that safety and environmental monitoring will continue under existing regulations.
The heat wave that swept across the province reached its peak on Wednesday, pushing the humidex in Montreal to 44 and in Quebec City to 42. Meteorologists said the sweltering conditions marked the highest readings recorded this summer, following a stretch of unusually hot days that began earlier in the season. Residents reported that indoor spaces felt stifling, prompting many to rely on fans and air-conditioned shelters. Health officials reminded people to stay hydrated and limit time outdoors, especially during the late afternoon when the heat intensified. Schools and businesses noted a rise in heat-related fatigue among staff and students, and some outdoor construction crews adjusted schedules to avoid the hottest periods. The lingering heat is expected to linger through the week, keeping temperatures well above normal for the region.
Police carried out a raid yesterday on a residence in the city suspected of serving as a hub for migrant smuggling. Royal Canadian Mounted Police officers entered the home in the early afternoon, securing the premises and taking 2 individuals into custody. Authorities said the operation forms part of a broader, ongoing effort to dismantle human smuggling networks that have been active in the area. Neighbors reported hearing sirens and seeing police vehicles block the street for several hours while investigators processed the scene. The 2 detainees have not been publicly identified, and no further arrests were announced at the time. Officials indicated that evidence collected will be examined to determine the extent of the operation and any additional links to organized crime. The raid underscores the continued focus of law enforcement on curbing illegal migration routes within the city.
At the Montreal Athletics Classic on June 30th, 19-year-old Gabriel Jeanist cleared a new height, establishing a fresh pole vault record for the meet. The young athlete vaulted beyond the previous mark, sending the home crowd into an enthusiastic cheer that echoed through the stadium. Organizers noted the performance as the highlight of the annual track and field gathering, which draws local schools and clubs each year. Genist, a product of the city's junior program, said the supportive atmosphere helped him focus on the bar. Spectators, many of whom are parents of budding athletes, left the venue with renewed excitement about the sport's future in the area. The record adds another chapter to the Classic's growing reputation as a showcase for homegrown talent. Held at the city's main stadium, the day attracted families who arrived early to watch the preliminary rounds before the record-breaking attempt.
Let's get a look at your morning forecast with our meteorologist, right after this.
A strengthening western jet and rising pressure seal in heat, pushing record-breaking temperatures across Montreal today. On this date, the city's thermometer once climbed to 32.6 degrees Celsius back in 2018, a blistering peak that rode a lingering heat dome. The coldest reading for July 2nd was 12.7 degrees Celsius, set in 2015, a rare Arctic burst that followed a deep trough over the Great Lakes. Today's normals hover around 26 degrees high, so the current 22 degrees feels modest, yet the atmosphere is already primed for a much hotter afternoon. Zooming into the live radar, the map is entirely clear. No rain echoes across the province. The western jet at 92 kilometers per hour and a modest high-pressure ridge are suppressing lift, keeping moisture locked out. With that dry envelope, any showers are unlikely to develop before the day ends, allowing us to shift to today's outlook. At 7, Montreal sits at 22 degrees with a clear sky and humid air near 80%. A high-pressure system is rising, capping the surface and reinforcing the dry air mass that the western jet is ushering in from the Pacific. By mid-morning, temperatures climb to 25, reaching a peak near 30 for this afternoon as sunshine intensifies. The jet, now gusting up to 46 kilometers per hour from the west, will stir brief breezy pockets, but the heat remains dominant. UV index registers 7, indicating strong solar radiation. Heat warnings blanket the island and surrounding municipalities, so stay aware of the elevated temperatures. No precipitation is expected, and the wind will subside after the late-day gusts, clearing the way for a calm evening. Looking ahead, Friday brings a high near 30 degrees and a low around 20, with another clear sky under the same western jet. Saturday cools slightly to a high of 27 and a low of 18, still dry and sunny as the ridge holds. Sunday introduces a cloud deck, capping temperatures at 28 with a low near 19, giving the city a brief overcast respite. Monday returns to a clear, warm pattern with a high of 29 and a low of 19, while Tuesday repeats a high of 29 and a low of 20 under clear skies. The persistent western flow keeps the heat in place, and only Sunday's clouds break the monotony. No new alerts beyond the existing heat warnings, so the focus stays on coping with the sustained warmth. And that's your weather. Remember, the local sunrise is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
Up next, traffic on St. Denis Street, a look at comedy legends and the jazz festival, Brainbox AI's Global AI Lab. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
The biggest hit to this morning's commute is the St. Denis Street closure. The street is shut from de Maisonneuve Boulevard east to St. Catherine Street east, right by Place Pasteur. That blockage forces drivers heading downtown, the Plateau, or the University District onto de Maisonneuve, St. Laurent, or even Rue Saint-Urbain. Expect an extra 5 to 10 minutes as traffic piles onto those corridors, and cyclists will need to use the parallel bike lane on St. Laurent. Aside from that, the city's main arteries are moving smoothly. The Descartes, the Ville-Marie Expressway, and the Champlain Bridge all report free-flowing conditions. Westbound traffic on Boulevard St. Laurent and southbound flow on Rue Saint-Jacques remain light, with green lights at most intersections. Transit is running on schedule, with no reported delays on the metro or bus network. The Orange Line, Green Line, and all downtown routes are operating normally, so if you're catching a bus or hopping on a train, you're good to go. Keep an eye on any late morning updates, but for now the roads are clear.
International Jazz Festival rolls into Day 3 with dozens of concerts across Place des Arts, Maison Symphonique, and other venues. If you love live music, this is the city's biggest summer soundtrack, and you can catch world-class acts spilling onto the streets. At the same time, the Montreal Comic-Con opens its doors at the Palais des Congrès, a 3-day pop culture extravaganza that runs through Sunday, perfect for anyone craving comics, sci-fi panels, and celebrity meetups. For a quick laugh before you head out, Comedy Legends takes the stage at Deli Planet on de la Gauchetière, showcasing Montreal's top stand-up talent and a surprise guest act, ideal for a mid-morning boost. And later tonight, Pink Martini brings its signature blend of jazz, pop, and world flavors to Salle Wilfrid Pelletier, giving you a taste of the festival's eclectic vibe without leaving Place des Arts. Whatever your plan, today's cultural menu is packed, so grab a coffee and dive in. And now here's Tyler with sports.
Canadiens news is moving fast this NHL offseason. Here is where things stand. Jacob Dobies is locked in Hungary. The Montreal Canadiens goaltender recently signed a new contract, but according to Sportsnet, the money is not what motivates him. Dobies says his focus is proving himself in net again and helping the Canadiens win, full stop. A long chapter in Montreal is officially closed. The Canadiens have traded forward Brendan Gallagher to the Vancouver Canucks in exchange for future considerations, according to CBC Sports. Gallagher spent over a decade in a Habs jersey and left a mark well beyond the ice. Before his departure to Vancouver, the city of Montreal honored Brendan Gallagher with one of its highest recognitions, naming him an honorary citizen. The ceremony took place at City Hall, a fitting tribute to a player who gave this community everything he had.
Brainbox AI, nestled in the heart of downtown Montreal, has just opened its new global AI lab and showroom. The lab showcases cutting-edge, AI-driven tools that help buildings slash energy consumption and curb emissions, a direct response to our city's climate goals. Backed by Train Technologies, the venture turns downtown into a living demonstration space where developers, architects, and everyday citizens can see sustainable technology in action. It's more than a showcase. It signals Montreal's growing status as a real-world AI hub, drawing talent and investment right to our streets. For Montrealers who care about clean air and affordable living, Brainbox AI means a brighter, greener future for the neighborhood we call home. And later, a heartwarming story of 71 Montreal households finding safe shelter in a local hotel, reminding us community matters most.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From City Hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMNA for the local Sunset Montreal's evening newscast.
On a Saturday morning in the Plateau, the sun warmed the balconies of St. Laurent Boulevard as a small crowd gathered outside Café Parvis. The scent of croissants mixed with coffee and a jazz trio played from the doorway. Students, teachers, and a graduate's mother stood with mugs of chai, ready to celebrate a fresh direction for the university's psychosociology program. After a review, the department will now focus on collaborative research and community-based learning, ending the classroom exercises that once crossed personal boundaries. Maya, a student, called the change a breath of fresh air, recalling how a previous workshop had left her feeling exposed. The revised curriculum will launch a mentorship circle that pairs students with neighborhood organizations, sharing stories on park benches and in studios. The gathering, set for next month, will include a mural painting at Parc La Fontaine, guided by a street artist who will blend turquoise and amber to symbolize connection and growth. Seeing Maya's relieved smile as she lifted her cup, the crowd felt that learning can be respectful and inspiring. We all move forward together, one step at a time.
On the bustling streets of the Plateau, the scent of spiced lamb and fried plantains drifts from colorful stalls, while a rhythm of djembe drums spills into the morning air. The Afro Monde Festival has rolled back onto the neighborhood's cobblestones for its 18th edition, kicking off on August 6th and running through the 9th. Musicians from Lagos, Nairobi, and Accra have gathered on a makeshift stage built from reclaimed wood, their guitars and brass catching the sunrise. Local volunteers, many teenagers who grew up hearing the festival's beats on their parents' radios, hand out reusable cups and smile as they guide families to the food court. A moment that captures the spirit of the event happens when a young girl, eyes wide, steps forward to try a bite of jollof rice for the first time. The flavor bursts and she laughs, turning to her mother with a delighted mammon saying croyable. The crowd's applause swells, reminding everyone that music and cuisine can weave a community tighter than any city plan. It's a reminder that Montreal's heart beats louder when we share our stories around a shared table.
Thanks, Montreal, for watching the local sunrise. Tonight's standout was the Canadiens securing goalie Jacob Dobies with a 3-year extension, a bright spot for our hockey fans. Stay tuned tomorrow for more community stories and weather updates. I'm Lauren Dupuis. See you bright and early again.